Welcome, welcome, welcome to Chops and Pops. We are 1 week away from something crazy, something wild, something that, dare I say, is extreme? Extreme rules, 1 week woo. Anyways, I am Andy.
And I'm Shane.
How about this 8-bit Bret Hart theme?
I was going to say, this is actually my first time listening to it. I'd like it.
I actually almost like it better as 8-bit than normal.
It works.
I think I prefer Natalia's theme, just because it sounds more intense.
Yeah. Well, actually, since most people probably think, like, why in the hell are you playing Bret Hart when he has nothing to do with anything going on right now, why don't you bring up why you decided to use Bret
just
today?
Watched on Netflix because, you know, Netflix randomly suggests things to me, and it said, you might like Wrestling with Shadows.
Yup.
Bret Hart. And I'm like, you know what? I would. I've been meaning to watch that. And I watched it, and it was an eye-opening experience.
Yeah. I remember watching it when it first originally aired, and it's definitely more of an inside look than what they usually would give back then, especially. But even watching it now, it has some lasting effects to see what was actually going on back then.
Yeah.
But that was like 15 years ago. That was like 18 years ago. So let's talk about what's going on now.
What is going on now?
I had two major things. I had the fact that the WWE had the nerve to send a cease and desist order to Stone Cold Steve Austin to stop selling merchandise.
What?
Oh, you didn't know about that?
I didn't know about that.
Okay, we'll talk about that. And also Daniel Bryan getting sent home from the UK tour.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that one first, and then we'll get into Stone Cold.
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
It feels like we're in Groundhog Day to me. I feel like we're living it all over again.
And it was in the exact same time as last year.
He made it through Extreme Rules and then stopped. And then it's like, sorry, guys. My neck hurts.
Well, for those who might not have heard, I'm assuming mostly everyone who watches wrestling has heard because it was one of the bigger stories. It doesn't actually have to do with his neck. It was actually due to concussion. They said that they really didn't find out until after the SmackDown taping that he had a concussion. I don't know how you find out about that late.
Right.
Because I feel like some of the testing would usually be, memory loss, not being able to remember.
Wait, is that the SmackDown where Sheamus kicked him and he got his head split open?
Well, that's where they say that the concussion happened. But it was actually this past week's SmackDown. He was in a tag team match with John Cena against Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. They said that it was after those tapings they realized, oh my God, you actually got a concussion when you fought Sheamus last time. So you've had a concussion for like a week and wrestled with it. So we're going to play it safe now, and we'll just send you home.
Yeah, they're stupid. They're so stupid.
Be specific. Who's stupid?
The WWE is stupid right now. They know damn well. It's like, well, it's to me it feels like you know when Punk had those problems, and it's like, well, I mean, you could miss the tour, or it's like, fine, I'll do it.
Like, are you kind of saying that since there's only one more week of TV for Raw, that he could miss that sort of thing, and it's not a big loss, but they needed him for the UK tour,
yep.
So they
absolutely,
that's fair,
yeah. They can write him off on Raw on something, but they need him in the UK tour. He's a big draw, so they need him. And people would be pissed if Daniel Bryan wasn't there.
Especially the UK fans with how vocal they are. But it's also interesting to try to play that balance act of real injury with how much they're trying to protect somebody when you know that they already push a lot of their talent past the breaking point. Because one of Bryan's first big issues where they restrained him from fighting was when he had that, I don't even know if you remember this was mid-2013, when he had that match with Randy Orton on Monday Night Raw. And he suffered a stinger from doing a suicide dive to the outside, and they called the bell, and that wasn't the actual finish. So you could actually see on television how confused Daniel Bryan legitimately was. Yeah. And you could tell he was getting a little angry, but then later on, the news story broke that he went to the back, which everyone knows how laid back of a guy Daniel Bryan is, that he went back and flipped out on Triple H because of how much wrestling Daniel Bryan has done around the world. Right. And the injuries he's fought through, that he felt he knew he was fine. And just flipped on Triple H for making the call to end the match. But yeah, that's sort of the hard part is, he probably legitimately does have a concussion. Yeah. But, you wonder if they focus in on him a little bit too much.
I think now they kind of have to, like, use him as an example, kind of with everything going on with how there's so many suits against them about, like, lack of concern for the well-being of people. So it's like, no, look, Daniel Bryan, we're taking care of Daniel Bryan. We did it. Mm-hmm. We're doing this right, guys. This is real.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. It's a tricky back and forth. As far as I know, he hasn't been pulled from Extreme Rules. They're still saying he's getting.
I have a feeling he's going to make it through Extreme Rules, and then maybe
same as last year.
That
they're going to put him on the sidelines.
Yeah, I'll get to that later because it's part of my chops and pops.
Well, then let's talk about the other big story of Stone Cold.
What is up with that?
What happened was, well, first of all, there was rumors that Austin and McMahon were having legitimate problems in real life because when The Rock made his appearance at WrestleMania, which is funny because actually from my seat at WrestleMania, there was actually some UK fans near us, behind us and to the side of us. And I was just freaking out during the Stephanie McMahon Triple H segment, screaming, "Stone Cold's coming out! Stone Cold!" And the UK guy behind me was like, "No, it's The Rock. Trust me, it's The Rock." And then The Rock comes out, and I was proven wrong. But what's funny is that the stories that came out was actually that Stone Cold was supposed to be at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. But then he went on his own podcast and denied that, said that was never the plan. There were rumors that he missed a plane flight, that he had a ticket with Taker or something and just never showed up for the flight. Right. Stone Cold said none of that was true and he didn't have any problems. Well, right after making that claim on the podcast, all of a sudden the WWE lawyers are sending a cease and desist order. I believe one was sent directly to Stone Cold, but it was also sent to ProWrestlingTees.com. For those who don't know, ProWrestlingTees.com is the website that mainly carries almost everybody that is in the wrestling world that is not tied down to either a WWE contract or a TNA contract. Mm-hmm. So pretty much any major person... Did Nintendo just take over? Oh, is that Stone Cold?
Yeah.
Very nice. Lost my train of thought for a second.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I kind of want to just listen to it. Very nice. Okay. But ProWrestlingTees.com sells everybody in Ring of Honor, or I don't know, maybe Ring of Honor holds it, but a lot of the indie guys basically. And then even CM Punk was one of the first major guys that was still a major star, but since he didn't have a WWE contract, was selling merchandise with ProWrestlingTees.com. But so was Stone Cold, and they sent a cease and desist for him to stop selling that merchandise. So it kind of contradicted what Austin said on his podcast, where all of a sudden now it's out in the open that obviously they're unhappy about something, even if the WrestleMania rumors weren't true. Yeah.
You know, it did feel weird that Jericho was the new podcast guy.
Well, it's funny you say that, too. Jericho is another guy selling merchandise on his own right now. Because even though he bounces back and forth with WWE, but his contracts are specifically for the 2, 3, 4 months that he's there. So once that time is up, he's free to sell his own stuff.
Right.
And he actually only did that recently. That's not even like a long-term thing. It was like maybe 5-6 months ago he finally started selling Jericho shirts. But Austin had been doing it for a while, as far as I know, and they weren't happy. And the only other thing I can really add to it is somebody on Twitter directly asked Stone Cold, where did your shirts go on Pro Wrestling Tees? I wanted to buy one, and it's not on there. And Stone Cold just basically gave the response of, stay tuned. Like, I'm going to handle this.
Oh.
They'll be back up there. Don't worry. So, time will tell.
Stone Cold. What a guy. One of my favorite Stone Cold moments as of recently was on the WWE claymation thing, Slam City.
Oh, yeah.
Where he went to get a cup of coffee that was stone cold from Alberto Del Rio, the barista. And he sent the coffee into space, and then it was finally stone cold enough.
Makes logical sense. Speaking of which, this is totally off topic, but Celebrity Deathmatch is coming back. I figured that.
Oh, no way.
That's worth mentioning. It's going to be on MTV, too. Yeah.
Nice.
Not going to elaborate.
How many MTVs are there now? Like,
I don't know.
Like 6?
And none of them show wrestling anymore. It's a shame. Do you have any other news?
News-wise, nothing really like...
All right, let's keep it moving, because I'm sure we'll have other stuff to bring up at the end that's going to take up some time. So you want to do Chops? Is it too early?
No. You know what I want to do right now?
You want to?
I want to ask you
Okay.
a top 3. Top 3 on the road meals.
On the road meals.
Yeah.
Oh, from my trip.
From your trip. Your top
Ooh.
3 meals that you had on the road. I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but
I was going to say, the biggest problem is just that I'm going to forget something major. And
well, you were just...
Or as Rosenberg says,
yesterday we were talking about the one and how you were craving it.
Oh, Taco John's?
Taco John's.
All right. I don't know who in the... which, by the way, we are able to actually look on our YouTube account to see who's listening and where. Not directly. It's not like we get your address or anything. But we know if... not at all. But we know if U.S. fans are listening, UK fans are listening. So I don't know who from what state could be listening. But if you live in the Midwest or to the western side of the country, you are so lucky for having Taco John's. I was a big Taco Bell fan growing up, and then it just got to the point of grossing me out. So I really appreciate the fact that there's somebody making legit like burritos, hard shell tacos, soft shell tacos with edible food. So I miss Taco John's dearly. And if anybody would like to leave a comment in the comments section telling me where the closest Taco John's is to New Jersey, I will drive there. But fast food wise, that's probably up there. Also, when I was in San Francisco after WrestleMania, we went to a Japanese restaurant that had amazing sushi. That was really good. But you know what? See, this is the easy way I was going to forget something. I'll give those as 2, but number 3 is probably my number 1.
Number 3 is number 1.
Yeah, backwards. When we were in San Jose staying at our hotel, they gave us a list with the packet, which I'll probably like upload a video, just not that I'm that special or anything, but I would be curious because I've never done the package before this.
Right.
So like I would appreciate somebody actually uploading a video to show you like what comes in the packet and everything they give you. And one of the things they gave us was a list of about 10 to 20 restaurants in the San Jose area within walking distance. And they actually separated them by food type. Just everything from Mexican food to I'm forgetting what the like extravagant ones were, like Mediterranean food. Like they had every type of food you could think of, so everyone could find something. And one of the places we went to on a whim, the name's escaping me right now. I wish I would have known you were gonna have something. I'll look it up and I'll give an answer. But anyway,
what kind of food was it?
Was it Peggy Sue's? Peggy Sue's.
Peggy Sue's.
From the bleachers, I got
with
the answer.
Save.
Peggy Sue's. It was amazing, and it's in San Jose. I recommend if anybody happens to listen to this and lives in that area, go to it. Their breakfast food was a little meh. But they had burgers that were out of this world. One of the ones I got was a blue Hawaii burger with a pineapple on it, and it was...
Blue Hawaii. What was that, like blue cheese and pineapple?
No, it was pineapple and bacon on a burger.
Oh.
It was...
But why blue? That's confusing.
You know what? Maybe it had blue cheese. I don't eat blue cheese, so maybe it had it on there and I got it without. But either way, their burgers were... top notch. And I actually got a French dip from there. Which is
I love a French dip.
And that's always my go-to meal.
Speaking of French dip, the Four Seasons Diner right down the road here, they do a French onion soup burger out of control.
Those are like my 2 favorite things put together.
It's French melted Swiss, caramelized onions, and it's just... Oh, it's good. And bacon. Oh, there's bacon on there, too. Oh. Well, I got mine with bacon. You go put bacon. Put bacon. It makes it better.
We're canceling this entire podcast and just going to talk about bacon for the rest of the show. But yeah, those would be my top 3. But just as I'm kind of rattling it off the top of my head, Peggy Sue's was definitely number 1. We ate there more than once. And again, since anybody in the world could listen to this, if you live in that area and you haven't eaten there yet, definitely eat there. That's also where I ran into Scott Hall and X-Pac. So who knows?
Too sweet.
The pineapple was too sweet.
Too sweet.
Too sweet.
I feel like I kind of have to throw mine in now.
Yeah, throw it in.
And I wish I would have thought of these too. I kind of caught myself off guard.
Well, yours isn't San Jose specific. Yours
no,
is more
mine is
favorite foods.
Favorite foods from where I have traveled. I don't know the names of like this one, but down in Florida by my grandma's house in by Ocala, by Ocala, Florida, there's a barbecue place, and I got their combo platter with pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and the cornbread and the mac and cheese, and it was so good, and it was like cheap. It was like dirt cheap. It was like $13, and I got something. This plate was gigantic. I couldn't finish it, and they gave you all the bread, so you can. And they had like regular barbecue, and they had spicy barbecue. It was kind of like Texas style because it was like thicker. Oh, it was out of control. That place. Then in Toronto, there's a place called Ragin' Ramen, which we go to every year when we go up to Toronto for the film festival, and their ramen just makes me so happy. They have other foods too. I mean, they have a Japanese version of poutine with some nice fries, some teriyaki, some cheese curds, some spicy mayo, and some scallions, and it's awesome. They have duck ramen, they have charcoal ramen, they have miso, they have pork, beef, chicken. It's so good.
And I'm staying specific to where I traveled at for, my Mania trip. Easily, that ramen restaurant is the best food I've ever eaten in my entire life. So if there's Canadian fans listening, A plus
to you guys.
Yeah,
My God.
A plus.
A plus. And I guess my third favorite, I love In-N-Out Burger. I know you tried it and weren't like...
No, I thought it was great. I just think that people hyped it up so much that I was expecting more. But this is the way I explain it. If it was a local fast food joint in my area, I would choose it over places like Wendy's all the time.
Right. See, for me, my In-N-Out sabbatical was I was staying in California, like right across the street from Disneyland, and the nearest In-N-Out Burger was like 3 miles away. And I decided, in my infinite wisdom at the time, I was going to walk to In-N-Out Burger and have it be like this like great adventure. And I should have brought more money. Like, I made it all the way there. I'm like, oh, I forgot my wallet. And I had cash, so I was only able to get a sandwich and like a drink.
Oh.
But
well, that's one of the things that I misunderstood about In-N-Out Burger, which it's in the name,
right,
which you would assume, I guess some people know, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together, is that there really isn't much of a menu. It's 3 things you can order, and that's pretty much it. I know you said there's a secret menu and all that, but that's the whole point of the name In-N-Out Burger. You pick 1, 2, or 3, and you're done.
Yep, you're in,
is a cool
and you're
concept.
out.
Yeah.
See, I got the 4x4 when I was there. I got 4 burgers, 4 cheese. And I didn't know about Animal Style. I had no idea what Animal Style was, and I'm so angry I didn't get it.
Why don't you explain what Animal Style is? Because I'm sure nobody knows what you're talking about.
Animal Style is like they put mustard on the burger, and they sear mustard onto the burger, and they put like a lot more of their burger sauce on there. That's really about it. And it's like their Big Mac sauce, but I didn't find it as like sharp. Like I feel like the Big Mac sauce has kind of like a vinegary like kick to it. This is just kind of, it feels smoother, less abrasive.
I'm just going to throw one more name into that pot of delicious food on my trip. Pizza Chicago. And I'm not talking about pizza from Chicago, because I actually stayed in Chicago 2 separate nights on my trip. And I tried Chicago pizza. It actually wasn't that great. But there was a restaurant called Pizza Chicago that was around the corner from where we stayed at in San Jose. Some of the best pizza I've ever eaten in my life. And the people who work there, some of the nicest people I've ever encountered at a restaurant. So, again, San Jose, you got some great food. If you haven't eaten Pizza Chicago or Peggy Sue's, go there.
And that was a mini food review by us here at Chops and Pops.
Why not?
Because why not?
We talk about wrestling enough.
Wrestlers need to eat, and we need to eat if we want to keep doing this.
And you know what? I don't know how late they stay open, but for all the wrestlers, I don't know if there's any that would listen to this, or with the road schedule that the WWE has, but for all the wrestlers that talk about how they travel and they're on the road late at night with like 5-6 hour drives and they have to stop at a fast food joint and that's the only meal they can get, if you travel like that the way that they do through the Midwest and you're a WWE performer and you've never eaten at a Taco John's, do it. And what's wrong with you? because that is amazing.
Well, they're probably sticking to, like, organic or, like, you know, fancy stuff. No, I don't know about that.
Well, the one big thing I heard always from wrestlers, and actually Dean Ambrose, to bring it back to wrestling, Dean Ambrose was actually saying in an interview recently, talking a lot about Wendy's, and the one thing about wrestlers, because of the empty calories that French fries are, they never eat French fries, which is a damn shame, because especially Wendy's sea salt French fries are fantastic. And but no, that's the thing, is when they go there, they wouldn't get like the normal value meal that we would get. They just stack up on whatever meat they get of burgers, chicken sandwiches, whatever. That's a lot of food talk.
It is a lot of food talk. Let's bring it back. So what's going on in the world? What's going on out there in this wacky, wild world of wrestling?
Well, let me explain to anybody listening. We've practiced with this podcast a couple times before we started putting up episodes on the internet. And I created a segment called Worldwide Weekly because I know Andy's here with me, but we also have Andrew who comes on the show and Vinny too.
Yes.
And we all dork out on wrestling. But I might be one of the bigger dorks because I follow all wrestling outside of the WWE and everything international. So to try to include that so it's not all just WWE talk for some people that, you know, there's a big portion of wrestling fans that would probably tune into this podcast that don't want to talk WWE. So I decided to put it all into one segment just so we kind of talk about it for a couple of minutes and then move on.
Right.
I didn't put anything together specifically, but I do have 4 headlines that are kind of international news, bullet points, and I don't know. I'll say them and we could talk about them.
I really want to play the music.
Play the music.
Oh, my God.
That's the other big part, because the music is 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. If you don't notice it,
oh my,
you're probably under the age of 20, because this music is actually the worldwide intro, or the WCW worldwide intro for the show that WCW used to have on Saturday mornings.
Oh, yeah.
You can probably tell for how ridiculously early 90s this sounds. Even 80s, maybe. But yeah, this was their intro song to the WCW Worldwide show. So it fits for a segment called Worldwide Weekly. The 4 topics. I was going to bring out Andy's dancing to the song.
I miss this song so much.
Yeah, so Tommy Dreamer has his own promotion called House of Hardcore. And he had teased for a little while that he was going to have a TV deal put in place. Well, it finally happened. And the reason why I'm considering this international news is because the TV deal is with the Fight Network, which is located in Canada. And it's the promotion's basically doing this at the timing of their first ever show in Toronto to help with the promotion of running a show in Canada. So if you live in Canada, you can watch House of Hardcore on the Fight Network. I believe it's probably going to be starting in about a month. I don't think we get the Fight Network in America. I could be wrong.
You know, probably with certain providers, there might be a way, but
like DirecTV or something.
Yeah, it might be a Canada only thing, kind of like Sky Sports.
Probably.
It was only like international. It might be one of those.
Yeah, because TFN sounds familiar. But yeah, so good job to Tommy Dreamer. It's going to help out his promotion. And if you live in Toronto, definitely go to the show. Another bullet point is New Japan Pro Wrestling kicked off their Road to Wrestling Dontaku? I don't know how to pronounce that, but it stands for holiday. It's like wrestling holiday. That's our next big pay-per-view coming up. The pay-per-view didn't happen yet. It's just the tour that they do leading up to it. And that pay-per-view is going to be taking place 2 weeks, I believe, the same night as the Floyd Mayweather-Manny Pacquiao fight. So it's going to be
that's happening that soon?
Yeah, it's in 2 weeks.
Oh.
So, yeah, huge stuff happening. But, yeah, New Japan's leading up to that pay-per-view. There's going to be some good matches. I'll talk about it more when the pay-per-view comes up. Third bullet point, Rey Mysterio is returning to the Crash promotion where that tragedy happened with Perro Aguayo. But his first match is back to the Crash promotion will be coming up in... I think it's... They announced the return date. I don't have it written down. I believe it's the first weekend of May, somewhere around there. And the only other thing I was going to bring up is kind of related to Mexico in the AAA promotion, which is who runs the Crash promotion that Rey Mysterio is wrestling for, is that TNA reopened negotiations with AAA, which means they're going to be exchanging talent where TNA guys go to wrestle in AAA and vice versa. It just opens the door for a lot of opportunities, but the major thing people are talking about with them doing negotiations again is the idea that Jeff Jarrett was trying to do that because his new wrestling company that he's doing, Global Force Wrestling, is basically based off of having deals with every single company around the world, whether it be Japan, whether it be Mexico, Europe, whatever. So looks like TNA is trying to jab Jarrett a little bit by doing business with AAA. Other than that, though, that is pretty much internationally what's going on, or at least what went on for the past 7 days.
All right. That's the news from around the world. So, I like to take it back to America in the only way that I find fitting is to play the national anthem and talk over it. Because there's nothing more American than the national anthem. Cue the music. Indiana. It looks like Brad Benson put a damper on you and your terrible decision-making. Hillary Clinton has announced her go with the presidential office, and so is Chris Christie. Oh boy! Time to vote for someone who will do nothing. Again! Or not. I have no idea. These people make no sense. So I'm gonna drown myself in beer and American-made Kentucky bourbon, whiskey, and scotch, and all of that dark liquor during these proceedings. It's gonna be wild. So stay true and stay blue, America. Woo.
That was beautiful.
Woo.
Can I just say,
yeah,
Hillary Clinton trying to become the first female president, that Stephanie McMahon would make a much better candidate.
Can you imagine her dealing with Putin?
So much
No,
better.
Stephanie, we don't. You listen here. Get out. Get out of my building.
I'm telling you, Stephanie would intimidate most foreign leaders than I think Hillary could.
You know what? I would actually love to see Stephanie McMahon for president.
So great. And I pray every day that Chris Christie will never run this country, but I don't think he has a very good chance anyway.
Yeah, I think everything that happened in New Jersey is going to put a damper on his sales, but
plus many other things. But that's enough politics.
It is. So,
and especially if we're going to talk about Chris Christie, I'd really like to chop somebody right now.
Oh, well, I can take care of that, baby. Oh, yeah, chopper time.
That one's for you, Christy. Our chops of the week.
Chops. The chops. You seem eager to chop.
You want me to go first? I'd really love to chop Chris Christie, that's all. But if I go first, I have a couple honorable mentions.
Okay.
I was a little upset there was no Hideo Itami on NXT this week.
It was. It felt empty.
Yeah. The Rollins-Kane match, it wasn't really a match.
Oh, that was...
I mean, that was all for purpose of storyline. I'm not one of those people who thinks it needs to be an athletic contest every time and when it serves the purpose to a story. But it felt like a waste of time.
It did.
One more honorable mention is that the WWE majorly edited the crowd reactions from the UK just because they can. And that's upsetting. Because you feel like if you pay money for a ticket, you get to have your voice heard. But that brings it around to my actual chop of the week, which hypocrisizes what I just said. So supposedly, two fans rushed the ring at Friday Night or Thursday. I should probably know that by now. Thursday. It's SmackDown. Two fans rushed the ring at the SmackDown tapings. It was in Europe. Was it also the UK? I don't remember if it was exactly London. It might have been somewhere else.
It might have been somewhere else, yeah.
But, yeah, two fans rushed the ring. One rock bottomed the other in the center of the ring. I don't know how they managed to pull that off before security got to them.
That's amazing.
It is.
That's a chop?
That is a chop, and I'll tell you why. Because I think fans like that ruin it for fans like us, and making security so much worse at these shows. Because on a related note, this is actually something from I don't think I know I didn't go into a story, but I don't even think I mentioned this last week. This is something that happened at WrestleMania Access. A fan managed to climb to the top of the Elimination Chamber.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they had the Elimination Chamber set up on one of the sides of the building at Access, and that was one of the main spots where people could go in to meet the wrestlers. There would be 2 wrestlers at a time inside the Elimination Chamber. At one point, it was the Ascension. At one point, it was Stardust and Damian Sandow. At one point, it was the Usos. But one of the fans, he was actually by a friend of mine at the time, and of course, just as like a douchey move, he actually had his lawyer with him. I don't know if like the lawyer was just a friend and his friend went to law school, whatever, but he had like that extra protection of like I didn't actually legally do anything wrong or whatever.
Right.
And he rushed to the cage and climbed to the top. The crazy part is no one even noticed. He got to the top of the cage, and there was no scene. Nobody. I mean, I was at Access when this happened, and I didn't even pick up on it. He drew attention to himself by screaming and shouting like, "Oh, I'm on top of the cage!" So then security went on top, escorted him out. So it's fans doing crap like that, or rushing the ring to rock bottom your friend, that just kind of ruins it for people like us who are just trying to have a good time, or bring a sign that maybe says something funny or against one of their popular wrestlers. It's when they have fans doing stuff like this that they beef up security and just make it a little worse for us trying to enjoy the show. So 2 chops to each fan who ran in the ring.
2 chops. How about like 20 chops?
Yeah.
I wish I knew what movie that was from.
Something kung fu.
It's probably like Fist of the Dragon or like Legend of the Tiger Fist. Something with a fist in it, because that's what they were all. They were all like Legend of the Fist.
And your chop.
My chop. You know, my chop, it hurts a little bit for me because it actually goes to Daniel Bryan.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't want him to get hurt again, but damn it, I'm pissed. I mean, here we go again. It's Groundhog's Day, except now he's the Intercontinental Champion. I mean, this is sad. It's upsetting, you know, and I'm upset because it takes away kind of the intent that there was going to be a fighting champion, and now he's going to be hurt. So it kind of sullies that idea. I mean, luckily you have John Cena fighting every week, literally putting his title up every week. You know, and I mean, we're going to get into the predictions later, but I hope Barrett takes the title from him at Extreme Rules, because, you know, as much as I am, yes, right now I'm a bit...
So even though it's going to Daniel Bryan, specifically, what are you chopping? Are you chopping Daniel Bryan for getting hurt, which isn't his fault?
No.
Are you chopping... what exactly are you chopping?
I'm chopping...
Him trying to push through it? Okay.
I'm trying, because especially Daniel Bryan, like, kind of staying away from traditional means of rehab and doctors, and which made his rehab last year take so much longer than it needed to. You know, if he's out, he's going to be out for a long time. And we can only wait around with our fingers ready for so long. And eventually we're going to stop. Someone else is going to make us do that. And then we're going to, you know, we'll be happy, but it's not going to be the same.
And to be fair, though, it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show. He's not out for his neck. It's not like he worsened the neck and is going back. So it's not exactly like he screwed up by doing the natural methods, but on top of the concussion he got, there has been reports that his neck is getting
worse again.
Bad shape.
Because there was the miracle cure that's like, oh, no, I'm back. And then it's like, well...
Damn Brie Bella and your hippie theories.
What if it's like this big like twist, and the real thing is that Brie Bella's pregnant and he's taking some time off?
Oh, I'd be happy. I'd be ecstatic.
That would turn that chop into a pop.
Yeah. Speaking of pops,
what? That was the craziest segue ever.
Best.
It's almost like I was ready for this. Holy cow! How about that? Pop time.
Pop time.
All right. My pop actually goes to the Ultimate Warrior Always Believe DVD release. I love it. I'm a huge Warrior fan, and it's just a roller coaster of emotions. Ooh, man. God, I cried so much just watching like the production part, like not the matches, none of the behind the scenes stuff. Just watching Dana Warrior talk about her husband and cry in the beginning, and then hearing the story of Warrior, and then getting to the end with his daughters, and they were telling this. They wrote one last love letter to their dad, and oh my God, it was like someone just ripped my heart out, man. It was God. They are killer. They tell a hell of a story. This WWE. And I mean, it's cool to take a look back and see him as like the Dingo Warrior, which is very similar to the Ultimate Warrior, except he had a mustache. And it looks ridiculous. Even more ridiculous than the face paint, which is awesome. And, you know, it has some cool stuff. You know, it has a tag with him and Taker versus, you know, Berserker and Papa Shango, which is cool. It has a lot of his like most memorable promos, like the "You can feel it, dude," and then, you know, it has, you know, it's good. It's good stuff. It's,
You know, it didn't even dawn on me till right now, which I haven't actually watched the full thing. You were playing some stuff before, but they didn't actually include any matches of when he tagged with Sting, did they?
No, they didn't include any of the Blade Runner stuff.
Yeah.
But there is another Blu-ray DVD coming out in September.
Jeez, that's the third one they've put out since his death.
Oh,
It's only been a year and a half.
Oh, they're doing it.
Oh.
Yeah, but I think that one's going to be the last one.
Right. Or at least for a while.
Yeah. But that one will probably have some more stuff. Hopefully some more Blade Runner stuff. Because this one actually features a lot more of Steve Borden like weighing in on the whole Warrior thing. So it has a lot of interviews with him talking about everything. So it was nice to get like his view on stuff.
Yeah. So your pop of the week goes to WWE Home Video.
It does. They are, you know, they sometimes they can do it. They can put it together.
They have some magicians working in their editing department because just some of the packages, everyone has said this, but some of the packages they put together just for their storylines are incredible. So if those same people are working on their home video releases, they've got some of the best people in the business.
You know, it's so cool because you see like stupid moments on like Raw or SmackDown. You're like, what the hell was the point of that? Like when Sheamus came back and then he grabbed the mic and then walked in the ring and sat there for a couple seconds and then was like, I'm back. They showed up like a short little promo with that in it. I'm like, wow, that's great now. That makes so much more sense.
And you know what? It's for that very reason that I never looked down on the Wyatt-Taker feud in the build-up to WrestleMania. Because there's little moments where when you have live TV, you could think like, wow, they should have cut this already, or wow, they should have wrapped this up. This is taking too long. Like specifically when the does he have a name for the rocking chair that Bray Wyatt, Sister Abigail's chair or whatever?
It's just I don't know if he has a name for it.
Yeah, well, when it lit on fire by itself, like that dragged on a little bit for live TV. I paid no attention to that whatsoever because I knew whether it be watching it live or the history books when you go back to look on it, none of that matters.
Yeah.
Because they're going to put together this amazing video package that features just like the amazing facial expressions that Bray does and then just a short shot of the chair on fire, and all that's going to play into some amazing storytelling.
Right.
So I never let some of that live TV stuff bother me because of the amazing stuff they do with edited videos.
Yeah, they're good. They're wizards. They're literally wizards.
They are
wizards. Like they got Harry Potter and Hermione Granger back there. Just whoop. You know, make a good promo. Boom. And there it is. Oh, I'm a dork. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. So for my pop of the week, I would say, it's not my actual pop, but I would say get that Machiavelli ready.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because I have two honorable mentions this time
All
before
right.
giving my pop of the week. I have to mention match from NXT this week. I actually looked up the exact time of the match because I knew of how short it was. It was 5 minutes and 20 seconds long, which is, I mean, nowadays it's kind of average, but incredibly short of a match while watching on TV. But Solomon Crowe had a match against CJ Parker to open the show this week, and it was great. especially great when you put it in the context of being a 5-minute match. They just did everything right. And one thing I've noticed for matches that go very short that I'm a huge fan of is you have to just beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
That's kind of the trick to doing a short match. Like, agents or veterans of the business always talk about maximizing your minutes when you go on TV and making the most of your opportunities. To me, I think the trick, because so many workers complain about that, of like, well, I only have 5 minutes, or I only have it's 3 minutes. What the hell am I supposed to do? There are veteran wrestlers, or even in the example of Solomon Crowe and CJ Parker, that it does not matter how much time you're given. Because if you have a short amount of time and you know that going into your match, just beat the ever-loving crap out of each other, even if you have to be a little bit stiff. Because that's the way that you sell defeating somebody in 3 minutes.
Can I just say that I liked that match better than Solomon Crowe's other match because he didn't do that weird thing where he bounces off the rope? I didn't like that. And I forget, did he do like a diving elbow or something? Like,
you mean for the finish?
Yeah, did he do like an elbow?
Oh, no.
What was
the muffler. What the hell's the name of it? I'm trying to blank. Something muffler. He even did it on the indie scene. I don't know why I'm forgetting this right now. But it was a submission move. And
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that better.
Much better.
Much better.
And it works for him. I guess the reason they might have been hesitant to do that is because of his size. Like, you bank on that, and he's not going to win a lot of matches. Because now he has to make his opponent tap out. So when you try to push him, and you put him in the ring with guys like whoever, Randy Orton. I don't know, I'm just spitting that name out. But Orton's not going to tap. No. So you set up a guy like that with a submission, you're kind of setting him up for failure because he won't be able to make certain guys tap just for booking reasons. Right. Damn, why am I forgetting the name of that? Muffler. Something muffler.
See, I think that it works for his character because he's a hacker and he's kind of like going in and like breaking down the order and making people submit. So him making people submit is kind of like him taking the power back.
Yeah. And again, they did a lot for a 5-minute match. The strikes that they did, I think there was even a dive to the outside. Just even something as simple as a boot in the corner. Like, you hit it stiff enough and you make it all believable. And I think the first time I ever saw that, literally, I don't even think it was 3 minutes. I think it was a 2-minute match that they had meant to be a squash match. And it was William Regal versus Big Show when Big Show was World Heavyweight Champion. This was on Monday Night Raw, like, I don't even know, like 4 years ago, something like that. And 2 minutes long, but Big Show chopped the ever-loving hell out of Regal to where even before the match was over, granted this is in 60 seconds, his whole body was just marked up or bleeding or red or purple. And it just made this little 2-3 minute match look like you actually got your money's worth for a world title fight. And I never thought that was possible with that short of amount of time. But Crowe and honestly, I've probably talked longer than that match was just now. And that was an honorable mention. So let's keep it going.
Right. And why did I have to get it ready?
Because my other honorable mention was from SmackDown this week in a Divas triple threat between Cameron, Alicia Fox, and Natalya. It was actually pretty good, and a lot of people took notice to it because good old John Laurinaitis actually put out a tweet and told people to take the time to watch it because most people would not only overlook some Divas matches, but they would overlook, somebody like Cameron. Right. Somebody like Alicia Fox is kind of meh,
Alicia Fox can have good matches.
Yeah. But it was weird. Things just clicked to where, especially, that's the other thing. It's not even the idea of like divas and having a match and it being short, whatever. It's that you have more elements to play into each other when you have a triple threat of how you knock somebody out while two go out. It gelled really well in a way that really impressed me. And Cameron kind of impressed me, which is shocking to say.
Oh, yeah. She is one of my chops for life.
Okay, yeah. I will say, if we had this show in 2014, her trying to pin Naomi on her stomach would be the chop of the year.
Oh, my God.
Easily chop of the year.
That was the worst thing ever.
It might be the chop of the century.
You know what? It's definitely the chop of the 21st century for me. In the past 15 years, that's bad.
Up there.
That's brutal.
But as much as I just ranted about all that, I have one major pop of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Dumps Rosa Mendez. Thank God. And he gets his music back, which is the best thing for him. And I don't like to be a mean person, and especially after seeing her at Access, Rosa Mendez actually seems like a really sweet person. But I popped for Fandango dumping her like a bad habit. It was pretty awesome.
You know, it was something about it was just the way he was just like, I know what's wrong. I've been too busy dancing with you when I should have been dancing with all of them.
And I think part of it, too, was he abandoned that original gimmick because after a while he started realizing, well, how is he going to be taken seriously? Because he's just going to be a joke, so let's make him into a serious performer. He makes this gimmick change, gets Rosa, changes his music, has a rose for whatever, Rosa. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that was never going to be taken seriously. So him dumping Rosa and returning to his music, it's like you're not even in the mindset of thinking like, oh, but how's he going to be taken seriously in the world title picture?
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard to break into the world title picture right now with guys like Brock Lesnar, with guys like Seth Rollins at the top. Like, oh, please, just play it. You don't even have to wait.
Oh, this is him in the game. This looks great. Why have I not played his Fandango yet?
You don't have to look it up now, but I really want to know if there's a Fandango 8-bit version.
I actually tried.
Nothing?
Nothing. That's upsetting.
Well,
it would have been better in 8-bit, I think. This would have been one of the ones that would have been pretty interesting.
It sounds like it would just be a great 8-bit.
You know what would be a really cool WWE game? Because I know they've been doing a lot more games recently. Like recently they did Immortals on the handheld, on like the iPhone and Android. And it's a really cool. It was, they got the NetherRealm Studios, which are the guys that do like Mortal Kombat. And how cool would it be like an 8-bit like 16-bit like Final Fight brawler where like you choose your wrestler and you like walk through the streets and you beat people up and like as you
like Double Dragon?
Like Double Dragon, but
I'd
with
like that.
WWE superstars.
Ooh.
You can get like Dean Ambrose running around with his like, and he looks like he looks like a double. He has like a tank top and jeans. He's going to kick some butt.
Hideo Itami.
Yeah,
yeah.
It'd be great, and you can have like the villains as like, ha 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 ha. Or like you could have like Brock Lesnar's like this giant like Hulk-looking monster guy, and you have like Paul Heyman walk out and like fix his tie, and be like Brock Lesnar, and like and now his music starts playing, and it'd be great. Oh, it'd be awesome.
Well, ever since his return, Brock Lesnar reminds me of the top evil guy from every great video game you ever played.
Right.
Like King Koopa, just all the way. But yeah, Pop of the Week goes to Fandango dumping Rosa Mendez like
Very nice.
Bad habit.
She's a bad habit.
She is a bad habit, especially for Michael Hayes. I think we're done.
I think you are right. I think it's time for us to maybe, just maybe,
just stretch things out.
Count to 3.
But wait, there's more.
Because I lost the file for a second there. How about that?
They don't know that. They're not. They don't
this
see
is
anything.
a special Extreme Rules false finish where we're just going to go over the matches and the predictions for them. I'm going to start in the order that I saw them on a list, so it may not be the match order, but Rollins versus Orton for the title in a steel cage with no RKOs. Thoughts?
I'm very excited. I think it's a very underestimated match. Most people, I think, had pretty positive reviews of their match at Mania.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if other people were expecting more or whatever. But they're two of the best in-ring performers that you can get. And I think that they're just going to get better with time with working with each other in a program.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying this to you before, but I think the idea of banning the RKO in a steel cage match just adds more of a scientific element to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the exact type of wrestlers that Orton and Rollins are, is very methodical, very scientific, to where they're geniuses of psychology in ring wrestling. So just giving him more tools to work with like that, I think, is going to be interesting. And there's some spots that you could probably already figure out.
Right.
But I don't think it's predictable by any means, and I think there's a chance it could be even better than the WrestleMania match, and I was pretty pleased with the WrestleMania match. So I'm very, very excited.
Who do you think is going to walk out with the title?
Rollins. It's way too early for him to lose. They could leave it hanging enough for another rematch, just in the way that you could easily screw Orton in a steel cage, whether it be J&J security interfering, whether it be Rollins just kind of being like a little worm that slithers out the steel cage door and doesn't really pin Orton or defeat him that definitively, or even do the more heroic thing of taking the time to climb out of the steel cage. So I think even if Rollins kind of slides out the door, J&J interferes, or if Orton maybe has him, and just because he can't, it has the restriction of not being able to use the RKO, for whatever reason, they can drag it out for one more pay-per-view.
Right.
Yeah, Rollins is walking away.
Yeah, I got a feeling Rollins is going to walk away. I think Orton not being able to hit the RKO, I don't think he's going to be able to keep Rollins down. And I think that's going to make Orton extra angry, and I think it's going to make him slip up. And as much as I think that Rollins is probably going to like weasel his way out of the ring, like through the door, or like escape out quickly with J&J, I would love to see him like hit the curb stomp and like climb to the top and just like gloat and just like hold the title out over like Orton's head. And I think that would be like a great image.
I think that could work if there was the interference beforehand.
Yeah.
Like if you could see Rollins' head help, and then he has the thing that makes him look like then it could work. But it's not going to take anything away from the match, even if there is interference.
That's the best part of Rollins, is that it's happening. There's going to be interference.
Yeah.
And who's probably going to interfere? Fucking Kane. Now I'm just thinking about it. Yeah. Kane's probably going to mess around. God damn it. Oh, I just ruined it for myself.
Hey, I live by this theory now and this motto. After the streak was broken, you can't predict anything.
Yeah.
Ever again. Nothing is set in stone until it happens. I think there's definitely going to be a tease of the punt kick.
Right.
He's going to try to do the punt kick to Rollins' head. Unsuccessfully, but I think they're going to tease that. But yeah, something to look forward to.
Next, Cena versus Rusev for the United States title in a Russian chain match. What the hell is a Russian chain match?
I'd love to give you an answer. I don't have one. They gave the impression, at least Michael Cole did, in the announce team, that it was something like old school that they were bringing back. I don't remember ever hearing that, to tell you the truth. I remember chains being used in matches. I don't remember it ever being the actual stipulation or gimmick to a match. I never frowned upon the Cena-Rusev feud, really. I think the Fastlane match was good. I think the Mania match was good. But I'm over it. I'm over it now. I know Rusev deserves his rematch, so they have to go through with that. Maybe the chain also gives an excuse to have Rusev lose one more time while still making him look dominant because,
I just looked up what a Russian chain match is.
Give it to us.
It's a take on the classic strap match. Both superstars will be tied to each other with a chain, and the winner is the man who touches all four corners of the ring first.
I'm actually kind of interested now. I don't know why, but I was kind of visualizing like them just like wrapping their fist.
Yeah,
and it was
like,
legal.
Yeah.
The idea that it's like a strap match.
Yeah.
That chain is very long. That will hurt like hell when they whip each other.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
You might have just changed my opinion. I'm not saying it's any 5-star classic or that it's going to be the match of the night, but that definitely makes it more interesting. Damn.
Yeah.
They're going to beat the hell out of each other.
So who do you think's walking out with the United States title?
I'm saying Cena.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
What about you?
As much as I think Cena's probably going to walk out, I want to see Rusev walk out. I want to see Rusev walk out with the champion, and I want to see kind of like more of the Lana drama that's going on with them, how they're kind of at ends with each other, and she's interfered with his matches, and he's lost because of it. And I feel like that should tie in somehow.
But don't you think that'd be better without the championship? Because if there's dissension amongst them, then I feel like that would lead to failure for Rusev.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I want to see her. I want to see him get so close to winning, and then Lana does something, and then it like resets it, and then he gets like crazy, and like just like chokes him out with the chain, and like just carries Cena on his back, and drags him by his foot, and like touches. I think that would be awesome. I would love to see him like manhandle him, kind of like Lesnar at SummerSlam.
I think you actually just figured out the finish, but vice versa. I think it's going to be Cena choking out Rusev, puts him on his back, which looks like he's going to give him the AA,
right?
Which just leaves him on his back to hit all 4 turns. I don't know. Could be anything, but I think Cena. What else is on the card?
Bryan versus Barrett. No stipulation as of yet.
A week or two ago, I would have said definitely Bryan.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking Barrett.
I hope Barrett, just because give Bryan some time off, kind of like take him out for a little bit. Give him like 3 weeks to like Barrett beats the hell out of him, and like storyline he's like out with injury, which actually helps in real life recover from his actual concussion. It would be nice, have him heal up a little bit, come back into the picture. Maybe go after Sheamus as like payback.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Speaking of Sheamus.
Yeah. Well,
do you have other things to say about Bryan?
No,
Barrett?
that's just, okay. I think we're both in agreement on that one. Sheamus and Ziggler in a kiss my arse match. Have you seen what Sheamus has been posting on Twitter?
No.
He's like, I've been eating nothing but Taco Bell in preparation for this match. He's a hashtag kiss my smelly ass or like stinky ass.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Well, actually, as funny as it is to talk about this match, there was actually one thing very specific, which this might sound nitpicky. I'm the only person I know of so far making this claim, so there might be a lot of people rolling their eyes when they hear this, but I kind of figure that this might be something. When there was the Monday Night Raw the night after WrestleMania, they did Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental title. There was one moment, which I actually don't think it was on the air. I think they showed it on the air because it happened during the commercial break, but I remember this happening live and gasping. Ziggler did this like pile driver move to Bryan.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It wasn't an actual pile driver, and it was where Bryan had his head in between Ziggler's legs. Sounds dirty, but Ziggler had his legs like around Bryan's head to trap him, and Bryan was doing the move to like handstand to break out of it, and Ziggler just like jolted his legs to slam Bryan's head to the mat, which is like a sitting pile driver.
Yeah.
If you notice, everything changed then, because Sheamus actually came out and attacked Bryan. He did attack Ziggler too,
right?
But there was even rumors that they were going to do a 4-way for the Intercontinental title. Remember? That it was going to be Bryan, Sheamus, Barrett, and Ziggler.
Right.
Then by the next week, everything changed, and they paired off the two. The point I'm getting to is I think they're ribbing Ziggler right now.
Yeah.
Ziggler's definitely losing this match.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely losing this match.
He's definitely losing, but also, when's the last time that you ever thought that Vince McMahon's Kiss My Ass Club would ever be shown on television again in the PG era?
Right.
And now all of a sudden, Ziggler does something that pissed some people off backstage, and he's in this gimmick match with Sheamus,
well, especially
having
with
to literally kiss his ass.
Daniel Bryan's health problems, that's not something. Like, the headbutts were at WrestleMania were already enough, and they did more headbutts on Raw, too. And then that's...
But that's my biggest point. Is we're in agreement that Sheamus is definitely winning.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of funny of a gimmick to talk about, but I definitely wanted to make that point. I think this is a rip.
Yeah.
And
that's a very good theory. I think that could very well be it. Only 2 matches left. You have Nikki versus Paige, but Paige is injured, so it's probably going to be Naomi.
Which is kind of something to talk about, Naomi turning heel.
Yep. Which I think that's good. But
I don't
at the
think
same
it
time,
makes sense because Naomi's so likable.
She is.
And she's such a cool lady that I think anybody gravitates to her, and especially if you watch Total Divas, it's like she's way too nice to be a mean chick.
Right.
But the thing that convinced me was the promo she cut afterwards. They interviewed her backstage, and she's a good talker, and she played up a heel really well. I still like her too much personally to really think of her as a bad person, but she's doing her job.
I'd like to see a new outfit to coincide with the heelness. Less bright Uso, more, I don't know, dark. I don't know.
Which is a good point to bring up, too, because notice they did the heel turn when Usos are out. Or at least one Uso is out, but he's going to be out for a while.
Yeah.
Perfect time to turn her heel, you know? But in terms of winning, who do you think?
I would love to see Naomi walk out with the title.
That'd be incredible.
But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to give it to anybody but the Bellas, because if Total Divas is any indication, the Bellas are going to walk. So they're going to try to get them to stay. So they're going to try to get them to, you know, all these great things to happen to the Bellas. So, I don't know.
My money's on Nikki, too.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say enjoy. I'm intrigued with the Naomi turn.
I think it'll be a good match.
Yeah, it'll definitely be good. Naomi has this tendency to get really excited when she gets big opportunities, and it's not even like, well, I guess it is botches, but I'm saying like she overshoots something because she's just so pumped up, you know?
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen.
And the last match, Reigns versus Big Show in a last man standing. Cricket.
Let me clarify, I'm not a Reigns hater. And I actually think the guy's done everything he can to prove everybody wrong, whether it be having that awesome Mania match or, I mean, it's not really his responsibility, but everyone complains like, oh, they're shoving Reigns down our throat. I can't stand it. Like, Vince just picks his favorite guy and shoves him to the top of the card. He's not at the top of the card.
No.
And that's what everybody thought the plan was after Mania. And now he's just in this singles match with Big Show that isn't even for a title.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. They have an investment in him, and they obviously have to make him look good. But why are you still complaining?
Yeah.
Ryan's got the championship. Cena's demoted. And the title picture is with Rollins and Orton. Reigns is just doing his job. Like, why hate the guy? But I will say it might be a bit of a snooze fest. The only thing that could save it is
the brutality.
The brutality. The
I
same
think
way
if he brings that same fever that he brought against Lesnar, and I just hope he wrecks Big Show's life, kind of like Lesnar did like a year ago at like the Royal Rumble?
Rumble.
Yeah, when he just manhandled. I hope that happens. I hope Reigns just come out and beats the hell out of him and just stands over his like lifeless body.
You know what? Most people would think, for especially somebody who could kind of still be considered a rookie, that being stiff is the worst thing you could do because you're not learning how to work the right way. That seems to be the solution to all of Reigns' problems.
Yeah.
Even what I was talking about before with short matches. It's like the solution is just be stiff. And I think Big Show, this was the other point I was going to make, is Big Show supposedly months ago did actually have some backstage problems or beef with Roman Reigns about like a being stiff. He punched him too hard in the face. And if Big Show also decides to bring out that anger towards Reigns, we might have found the solution to Reigns matches.
Yeah.
Because even Fastlane, Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Be stiff with Reigns and you get a good match.
Yeah.
That is the solution to all of life's problems.
So that's it for the Extreme Rules. Quick recap on NXT. Dana Brooke was trash. Even against Blue Pants. She
really likes to rub herself.
Yeah. Even against like Blue Pants, she looked bad. Like real bad.
She did that, lack of better terms, vag kick.
Yeah. Ooh. Then
I could say another term that somebody used that is hilarious, but it's probably not language that would be YouTube approved. I'll just say that it rhymes with runt punt.
Then you have Enzo and Cass beating up some guys, like the new Steiners. Beating up the new Steiners.
Hey, don't piss off Scott.
I know.
Do not piss off Scott.
You had Zayn versus Rhino.
That was pretty good.
Which, his arms are so tiny. Why are his arms so tiny? I mean, they're huge arms, but like lengthwise, they're really short, and it freaks me out, man. You had Parker versus Crow, which we talked about before. And the thing I'm most excited about is the setup for Riley versus Owens next week. You know,
speaking of prison beatings,
we talked about we talked about earlier that he's just gonna get like manhandled. But I rewatched it again, and just the look in his eyes at the end when he's like, "I ain't going nowhere." And it's just like, you're right, Alex Riley. This is it. This is it. Your job is to get beaten up.
You're not going anywhere because you'll be laying down in the middle of the mat.
Yeah. You know what's gonna happen?
Unable to move.
Alex Riley is gonna become the new C.J. Parker.
It could happen.
He's just gonna be the new guy that's like, "No, I'm still good at this," and then get beaten up by new guys. And
Right.
Like, oh, what the heck?
Right.
Well, that actually is it for us here at Chops and Pops. You can check me out on social media at YDNAGIACCONE. That's me on Twitter. I'm going to be back into it this Monday. I had a rough week last week working overnights. I was barely alive. But I'm going to be back in it this week, so look out for me on Raw, where I'm going to be pimping what you're listening to right now, actually. So if you got here from that, good on you.
And next week will be special because it's pay-per-view night.
Yeah.
And especially from listening to it when I wasn't there, I think you created a great format. We'll just tape while we watch it.
Yeah.
We're not going to wait till 11 o'clock when we're ready to fall asleep. We're grandpas.
It's fun. You know what? It's fun that way. It's that way. It's like fresh in your head exactly what happened, and I like that. It keeps. It's great.
It's sincere
It
reactions in real time.
Yeah.
And hopefully Andrew and Vinny will be back.
Yeah.
Depending. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll hope and see. So for us here at Chops and Pops, have a great day. Oh yeah.